What is going on, everybody?
Hello!
It is Pixel Partners here, and welcome back to the Great Ace 32. When we left off, everything started popping off. Jigoku, we were getting at him left and right and center, and Ryu was just like, not taking his bullshit. He stopped us, like, hey,
He
fuck
did,
you,
like,
you little
dang.
piece of garbage. You admit what you did, and we got him. But now, before he walks away, we're gonna see
Before he walks away,
if he says who the mastermind was behind the assassin exchange. Before fucking like Strongheart like rips him off the stand and says nope, out of here, which could happen. Watch that be the dramatic, and it just put nope, not important, pulls him away. If he says anything, nothing you say now can make matters any worse for you. Just tell us.
Enough.
How's that invisible wall feel that you punched?
I've already told you that I cannot say.
Even though as things stand, you may very well never set foot in your homeland again.
What are you waiting for? Can we get this over with now? It's finished. All of it. I'm finished.
Sounds great to me. Then, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I now pronounce the findings of this court. This man before us is admitted to the willful murder of Tobias Gregson.
Whew.
Goodness. And then suddenly, Kazuma does a closing argument and swings the courtroom in his favor.
Prosecution can't do a closing argument.
I think technically whichever party is losing can make a closing argument.
No, it's the defense.
It's whatever.
It's the defense. Were you not
Seishiro
paying attention?
It is the opinion of this court that you should be found guilty. And may I remind all these present of the strict confidentiality demanded by this closed court. No talk of this assassin exchange, please. It was a fairy tale to begin with, right? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Everybody? Moments ago, Mr. Jigoku signed a written confession, admitting to the murder of Inspector Gregson and the subsequent conveyance of the body. In short, the defendant's innocence has therefore been established beyond doubt.
Ha!
Oh, he's salty.
Yeah,
he's gonna say something.
Oh, wonderful! Well done, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, thank you.
Is something wrong? Something feels off.
Oh, of course, it ain't gonna end like
Yeah.
this. I'm just a little troubled by his silence. The trading of the Reaper of the Bailey and this extraordinary assassin exchange. We do remain in the dark about these mysteries. However, insofar as the indictment brought against the defendant in this trial, we have reached a conclusion. I haven't talked to him in a while. Give me a second. I have every intention of pursuing both mysteries. As a prosecutor. As you wish. Now for the formal adjudication. I hereby declare the defendant, Barrick Van Zeeks.
Objection.
Yep, there
it
it is.
It's like, you realize this is already over, correct? The prosecution calls for adjudication to be deferred. Counsel? The accused's innocence hasn't been fully established at all.
What the fuck are you talking about? Huh?
And therefore, it'll be wrong to deliver a verdict at this time.
What?
Bro, we have a written confession
Yeah.
to the murder of Gregson. Because guess what, buddy? Unless things were different back in this time, the court case is for Tobias Gregson.
Yeah.
Not anyone else. Anything else that happened that you want to get him for doesn't matter. Go for it another day. That's the way that the law works. But it's a video game, so this is probably actually going to work out for him. That is the prosecution's unwavering position.
Bruh.
What?
But Judge Jigoku has already confessed.
Nevertheless, Barrick Van Zeeks has committed crimes for which he must be punished.
Even if you think so, that's not what this is.
Listen, buddy. Number one, calm the fuck down. Stop getting your panties in a bunch. We'll do this another time, okay? We're finished here. It would appear you have information that the court needs to hear, Prosecutor Osogi. Certainly, the murder of Inspector Gregson was actually carried out by Mr. Jigoku. I'm just going to not even attempt to fuck it up. But it's clear from the witness's testimony that he was coerced into complying with the plot, into this sick, merciless assassin exchange. That may be true, but... So what I want to know is, who coerced Jigoku? Who was pulling the strings?
The judge here, technically.
They would go off to France, having been ordered on a mission for the Reaper, only to be murdered. In other words, the mastermind behind the assassin exchange is someone in a position to give such an order. As we've already established, the Reaper himself. Well, certainly, that would appear to follow. Then, the prosecution hereby formally accuses the man in the dock,
Oh my
Berg
God.
Van Zeeks, of being the Reaper of the Bailey. And furthermore, I'm going to prove his guilt beyond all reasonable doubt.
Oh my God.
What? Why? What? What are you doing?
You tell Kazuma you want a divorce. No.
Order, order, order. You fucking children. The Reaper of the Bailey is a long-standing mystery, Counsel. Are you suggesting you have some new information with which to build a case?
Scotland Yard has already investigated Lord Van Zeeks very thoroughly in that regard, and they found no evidence whatsoever to substantiate the claim that he is the Reaper.
Perhaps, but circumstances have now changed.
You've changed.
What do you mean? Well, you can say now that since Tobias was involved in it, that Scotland
Yeah.
Yard is also can be hiding everything.
No, I know. I'm just jabbing at him.
Yeah, I know. I'm just speaking through what his logic probably is.
I don't
It's
care
already
what his
been
logic
established
is.
that the assassin exchange was negotiated with Jigoku by the Reaper himself, which means we now have a new line of questioning by which to identify definitively the man's identity.
Your sanity is questioning.
That is the prosecution's intention here.
Questionable.
I must say I'm surprised by quite how tenaciously you appear to want to besmirch my name. You are guilty of an unforgivable crime, Lord Van Zeeks. And I will bring you to justice for it, whatever it takes.
You're just salty. Oh my God. Leave him alone.
That explains Kazuma's silence before. He'll stop at nothing to finish what Lord Van Zeeks unwittingly started 10 years ago.
God. Let it go and move on.
He's like, listen, I have the authority to stop this now. But if I don't, he's just going to make me do this again tomorrow and have a symposium to run. Just get it done with. Very well. Whilst it's extremely irregular.
At least he acknowledges it.
I will on this occasion grant the prosecution further opportunity for witness testimony. The defendant will disclose any and all involvement he had with the Reaper and the assassin exchange.
None. The end.
I thank you, my lord, for guiding the court so wisely.
What a fucking suck up.
I hereby declare this court to be in session for a supplementary hearing. Ah, shit, here we go again. Oh, God.
At least he formally addressed it as something separate.
Yeah. Pray turn a blind eye to the
Discourtesy.
That's what I was like, discord? Is it
No.
discourtesy? Discourtesy as I verify. Yeah, verify that this violent, unremitting accusation hasn't soured the contents of my hallowed chalice. Lord Van Zeeks! I first had to suffer the pseudonym of the Reaper 10 years ago now. And ever since that time, I've endured the weight of implied guilt that's gone with it. So I welcome the chance to testify now, and crush those allegations once and for all. Good.
Wow.
Then let justice decide, Lord Van Zeeks. The prosecution seeks to begin building its case by calling the accused to the stand as the primary witness, in order that he may answer the accusation brought by the prosecution that he is the Reaper of the Bailey.
Calm your tits. God.
And what says the defense?
Ugh. Putting the defendant in the witness stand can be extremely dangerous. And Kazuma-sama is so emotional at the moment. He's not thinking logically.
Someone else here is too, but I'm not gonna. You're right that he's not himself. I'm not gonna. But I knew it would be like this, and I came here today determined to face him through whatever might arise, as a lawyer and as his friend.
And that's what we must do. Listen, I really like Van Zeeks now, so I'm protective.
Well, it's because we pretty much know he's innocent, but Kazuma's just
Exactly.
like, you killed my father! I will kill you.
Why was that Sherlock?
I don't know.
It's just like the whole freaking. My name is
That's
Kazuma Sogi. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
That's the joke I was
Inigo
planning to aim to
Montoya.
reference.
Yeah, from
that one.
Princess Bride.
The defense has no
Classic.
objection, my lord.
I object.
Very well. Defendant, you will take the witness stand and give formal testimony on the subject of your involvement with the Reaper and the assassin exchange.
I never thought I would want to slap a Sogi before.
As you wish, my lord. Nothing. I don't know shit about either of them.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Leave him alone.
I just want to drink my wine, pass out, and wake up tomorrow when life is normal again. I've never taken the life
Probably.
of another, nor have I instructed another to kill. I've been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years, and I was aware of Gregson's involvement. That's the reason why I went to Fresno Street that day and how I came to discover the body. The point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. Clearly, therefore, there's no reason to suspect me of being behind the assassin exchange. So you deny all accusations by the prosecution, both that you are the Reaper of the Bailey and that you masterminded the assassin exchange. I acknowledge the public at large believe me to be the Reaper. However, that's a fallacy, which I alone am in a position to forswear. Naturally, the prosecution believes the testimony just given by the accused to be untrue. Renosuke Naruhodo? Yes? Let me ask you, why are you here? What really brings you to this courtroom?
Truth. Justice.
A desire to uncover the truth.
Yeah.
Even if the truth proves your client to be guilty?
But he's not, though.
From all my experiences in this courtroom, I've come to realize something. The truth can't be hidden. Sooner or later, it will come out. So it's always my intention to work with my client in pursuit of the truth. I want you to remember what you just said. Okay?
He's so sure that it's Barrick. He's so sure.
Enough dilatory chatter. Counsel for the defense, proceed to cross-examine the witness. Yes, my lord. I know exactly what you're thinking, Kazuma. I know you're just waiting to point it out. The contradiction you're convinced lies somewhere within this man's testimony. I mean, what I realized as the thing went down, I was like, we unfortunately have to disagree with something that he said.
Yeah.
So, it's not exactly steely.
Yeah.
Let's see. Because one thing that maybe stands out to me would be,
That one?
yeah, because
That stood out to me, too.
we have the picture of him and Gregson together with his brother,
Yeah.
which points that they've been together for a long time. So that, I mean, we really have had no other use for that photo. But that points out that there is a thread that connects those two at least.
Mm-hmm.
I will go ahead and, I can't say from here, I will go ahead and say,
Yeah.
do you agree with my assumption?
Yeah. Even though you don't want to press anything first?
I mean, I suppose I can.
Because dialogue?
I know, that just makes the Let's Play 4 hours longer.
Yeah, but the people love the pretty prosecutor man, so...
Alright, I've instructed to kill. So you're not what the general public referred to as the infamous Reaper of the Bailey. Exactly. Don't mention for the moment that the court will be satisfied with the one-word answer on this. I realize that.
There's
You
three.
don't take to comment on every sentence. This could take a while, Kazuma. Didn't you find it disturbing, though, that one by one, defendants who'd been acquitted after your unsuccessful prosecution were killed? Let me answer that question by posing another. If one by one defendants who'd been acquitted after your successful defense were killed, would you find that disturbing?
Yeah.
Disturbing? I couldn't possibly say how that would make me feel with a one-word answer like that.
He's like, exactly.
Exactly. Well, that told me. But even though I'm not the Reaper, that doesn't mean I ignored all the hearsay.
Yeah.
I've been investigating the truth behind Gregson's involvement. You say for years. How long exactly? Since the very first time the Reaper's influence was felt in this courtroom. 10 years ago now. And your investigations led you somehow to Inspector Gregson, you're saying? I didn't want to believe it. He was a personal acquaintance. We'd worked on cases together in the past. A friend, even. It felt like a betrayal, but I demanded permission to search his office at the yard without his knowledge. Which when you found his secret notebook, is it? It's when I first learned of the location he'd noted only as grouse in the appointment at 5 p.m. on the 31st. Though I didn't know the significance of those details at the time. So now we're at the nub of the matter. As it turns out, the significance for me personally was very unfortunate.
Yeah, see, this is stuff we need to talk about here.
Well, there's no need because that's not going to be important after we move out of this testimony. But you just want to learn more about the Mia.
Yes.
The reason we came from
As
today.
do most people, I would believe.
But why did you go to that specific location? I thought that if it was the Reaper's headquarters, then by turning up there at 5 o'clock, I would catch whoever was involved red-handed. Sadly, all that was awaiting me was the inspector's corpse.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yes, even though it wasn't designed for you, you walked straight into the trap set by Jigoku. Exactly. Jigoku had intended to implicate Hugh Boone, but unhappily for me, I arrived at the scene first. Ha! A ridiculously careless blunder.
Oh my god!
Moved on to just throwing insults around, I see then, Kazuma. Think what you will, it doesn't change the truth.
I want to slap that man over there.
No common ties. There's a link between you and Gregson, though. Of course, we were close acquaintances. We'd worked on numerous cases together. I consider the man to be a mentor of sorts. He taught me a number of important lessons. He did? Such as what?
See, we needed to press this.
Where to buy good fish and chips, and such like.
That's a very important line.
Well, that was convincing.
That was a very important line.
Dr. Wilson was a clone, of course, but that was some time in the past. And in any case, I understand it was several years ago now that he was invited to work at a Japanese university. That's right. He was a visiting professor at the Imperial Yume University in Tokyo. Should be unambiguously clear then that no link exists between myself and him. In other words, I had no motive for sending some assassin across the ocean to kill the man.
Ryu just said Tokyo. It's like,
It
Ryu,
sounds
why'd you
plausible
say
enough
that?
and I want to believe it. Something about this just doesn't quite sit right with me. I actually have a different thought. There's no reason to suspect me of being behind the assassin exchange. I'll go through and cycle back through, but certainly as it stands, there's no evidence to suggest that you concocted this game. But as it stands, we have only the accused's insistence of his innocence. Sorry? Perhaps there is some reason that would explain why he masterminded the assassin exchange. And if a reason could be established later in these proceedings, then the accused claim in this testimony that he wasn't involved would amount to perjury. Well, yes, that's true, but
Clearly, Kazuma-sama intends to identify a reason and use it to make his case.
so if we don't identify something first...
He'll gain the advantage.
Okay, so I definitely think I know what's going to be going on here. This could be dangerous. Alright, this is going to put us on the back foot by a lot. Convincing testimony by Lord Van Zeeks.
Certainly, with no apparent connection between the three men, there's no way to establish a motive. The testimony seems unassailable as far as I can see. Oh dear me, what a bleak expression.
I agree. There doesn't appear to be any particular link between them at first glance. But with the inclusion of one other person, I must be overthinking it, surely.
Another person, Mr. Naruto?
I need to think back over all the information we've gleaned so far.
Alright, and I'll review my notes about the case and all the evidence in the court record.
Could it be that Lord Van Zeeks has something to hide after all?
Is
so, when it comes to here, so my first thought when I flipped it was going to be, and so it could still technically be two things. It could be either the photo with him, Gregson and his brother, or it could be the autopsy report for his brother, because that includes Wilson on it. Because I think it's going to be the fact of going through that, essentially, the thread that ties the three of them together is the death of his brother. Now, if we have to put the photo that has his brother there, or if it's going to be
Well,
Clint's
that wouldn't
autopsy.
connect Dr. Wilson.
Yeah, but
And the coroner here is Wilson, so.
yeah. And Gregson was there.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I think this will be this is where my thought went to afterwards, so I think we'll go with this one, so.
Objection.
Yep. What is this? An autopsy report? Wait. This is 10 years old? From the autopsy of Lord Clint Van Zeeks. What? My brother's autopsy report. I'm pleased to see the defense doesn't intend to run from the undeniable truth.
That's not what we're trying to do here, buddy.
Well, I mean, we are trying to get to the truth.
Yeah.
And the truth is that there is a possibility that Van Zeeks has a reason to have created the Reaper in the first place.
I still don't see him killing people.
No, we gotta see where this goes.
Like, he's not a bad man.
I hope.
What do you mean you hope?
Listen, I don't
No faith in your client? How dare you?
Listen, what's his face? I mean, McGundle obviously fucked Ryu up, but I was gonna say, in the Ace Attorney series, ever since fucking, what's his face that was at the end of the second game? The guy that was the samurai with that murder case where he was evil. Give him the Sonic voice.
Oh,
Hold on, let me call my manager, Matt on guard.
Matt on guard?
Ever since him, he's fucked me up. I can't trust anyone.
But he had a whole hostage situation going on. He showed his true colors right away.
He's trying to make jokes, man. Order in court.
This is not the time for jokes.
What reason do you have for presenting a 10-year-old autopsy report here, counsel?
Autopsy.
Listen, the autopsy report of the professor's final victim, is an undeniable link between Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson, and the defendant. Not that accursed name again, the professor. I've personally researched all of the court records relating to that case. I know that at the time, autopsy was considered sacrilege to the victim's souls, and for a member of the aristocracy like Lord Clint Van Zeeks, it was unthinkable. But someone implored the powers that be to allow the autopsy to go ahead. Inspector Gregson. He declared that he was certain he would obtain conclusive proof from the procedure.
And it was Dr. Wilson who conducted the autopsy. His signature is clearly visible on the document.
As promised by Gregson, the autopsy did indeed produce evidence. Evidence that conclusively proved Genshin Asogi was guilty of the murders, boy. In my brother's dying moments, he mustered all of his remaining strength to leave that vital clue behind.
Two can play at the game of insults, dude.
Indeed, that was the key to indicting the professor for his crimes and the conclusive evidence that convicted him. It enabled Lord Van Zeeks here to avenge his brother's senseless death with a marvelous victory in court. A marvelous victory, was it?
Whew, the atmosphere is so tense in here right now.
I wonder if that's really true. What? Could the same be said if it turned out that key piece of evidence in question was in fact fabricated? If the inspector, the coroner, and the prosecutor all colluded together to cast an innocent Japanese man as a mass murderer to send him to his death. That's outrageous. And now, 10 years later, for some reason the secret has been threatened and needs protecting. Which is why the inspector and the coroner had to be silenced. Isn't it? By someone in power in Japan and in Britain, using the two killers recruited for the assassin exchange. It is a possibility. Order at once. 10 years ago, my father was convicted in this very courtroom as a mass murderer, to be sentenced to death. But it was all a sham, and I swore to myself that I'd prove it. Which is why I had to come to Britain. Whatever the cost. Even if it meant killing a man, I didn't know. You'll have to forgive me if I feel compelled to toast this vengeful Nipponese tenacity of purpose here. However, he who fails to quash his emotions in the courtroom has failed as a lawyer. Come on, Kazuma, you know this won't wash. You're claiming your father was misrepresented in a trial that took place a whole decade ago. You must see that without evidence, that's nothing more than a wild accusation. As it happens, I have evidence.
Huh?
What? As the court has heard, I crossed the channel to
There's
France
that
with
music
Gregson
again.
on the 31st. I went with him on the pretext of being the assassin recruited to kill Mr. Jigoku.
Seishiro.
I'm just not gonna risk it. But my true intentions were to make the inspector tell me the truth. What truth? The truth about the evidence. And he acknowledged what I had already deduced. There's a closely guarded secret about what went on in that autopsy 10 years ago. What? A secret? I know nothing of any secret. While we waited for my supposed mark in Jikoku's cabin, I drew my clan's illustrious sword, Kuruma, before the inspector's eyes. He very quickly understood what my true motive was. Right, I see. You're that Sogi's young lad, are you? And what? You're gonna cut me down with that thing, is it that? Is that it?
Oh my god.
It will very much depend on the answers you give to my questions. I want to know what really happened 10 years ago. The truth. That's all.
Forgot how bouncy his eyebrows are when he blinks.
Before we get into it, let me make one thing clear. I still believe your father was the professor. There's no doubt in my mind. But unfortunately back then, we didn't have the evidence we needed to make the crime stick. So, you admit it then? The evidence used in my father's trial was fabricated? It was for the good of the country. Anyway, I was just following orders. Orders? What exactly did you do? Speak! I'm not saying another word. Even if your life depends on it? That's right. Even then.
Wow.
Well, that's where the sword came in handy. That's when the tip of the sword broke.
Oh, Kazuma-sama.
If the results of Clint Van Zeek's autopsy were fabricated, then the investigating officer Gregson and the lead coroner Wilson must have known about it. And they can only have been ordered to pervert the course of justice in that way by one man. The man leading the case for the prosecution, Barrick Van Zeeks. Actually, he wasn't the lead man of the prosecution at the time. He only picked it up afterwards. The lead was Strongheart.
Yep, exactly.
Nice.
What voice was that, by the way?
That was just Van Zeeks going,
No,
in other
you
words-
saying the lead was strong. I never heard you use that voice
that was
before.
just me.
Yeah.
In other words, the defendant did have cause to organize this exchange of assassins.
Exchange? Speak, man. Speak.
Someone can take the hit for me. Yes, do it, Kazuma.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly. And as was established earlier, it has to have been the Reaper himself who
Liaised.
liaised with Jigoku in Japan to arrange the exchange.
I think so. Or liaise.
So it follows that the Reaper's true identity can only be that of the man who stands accused in this courtroom today, Barrick Van Zeeks.
Because isn't it like a liaison or whatever? Is that
Yeah.
yeah, so a liaised.
Oh boy. Kazuma Sogi. What?
Get off my back.
What you just told the court. Are you absolutely certain of your facts? Did Gregson really fabricate evidence for that trial 10 years ago? I heard with my own ears his shameful admission.
Phew.
In that case, I know the name of the Reaper. What? Lord Van Zieks?
He's gonna be like, it's Strongheart.
I gave no such orders. I know that for certain. Which narrows down the remaining possibilities to one. Lord Van Zieks isn't the one behind all this. Then yes, there is only one other person who could have done something like that.
Yep.
I believe I know who it is too.
We've known since the moment we saw him.
I just had a feeling
For
his
the
name was
first
going to come up.
time.
Ever since I first saw his dumb fucking face. The true identity of the infamous Reaper of the Bailey is.
We don't even need a save. We know. Well, okay, yeah.
Just in case I somehow fuck this up.
Because knowing you could like mis-select and yeah.
I was gonna do a bit so strong
It's Sherlock.
that I was gonna do that, but I was like, you would hit me if I presented that right now.
No, I want to see what would happen.
If this is the right answer, though, that becomes a problem. If this becomes right,
It's
that's
not.
an issue.
It's not. But I want to see if
Yeah,
there's
it would be-
anything like.
It would be funny as hell
specific.
if there's a special line for this. So I'll go ahead and throw it out there. It's really palpable now. That overwhelming pressure. It's making it almost impossible to speak before this gargantuan foe. But I can't back away now. There's no time. What's the matter, Council? I take exception to the look you're giving me. I was just gathering my thoughts. I'm ready to voice the defense's opinion now. Very well. Before you do, a penalty for time wasting.
Oh yeah, no.
Aww.
Man.
Ryunosuke. Does the defense really believe the other resolve?
Ah.
Alright, so I'm gonna.
So
I'm gonna-
no Easter eggs then.
No, that would have been funny if it's like,
That would have
what
been
are you
funny.
talking about?
Yeah.
He's just in there like, what? What do you think of me, Master Naruto? I believe Eugene
No, this
Strong
fucker. He's a thoroughly intimidating man was the last line in his description.
The only person who could have arranged the assassin exchange and manipulated the autopsy results is the Lord Chief Justice himself. Lord Male Strongheart. Don't stand up lurking at me like that. That's just slowly melts down to the ground. You know, like that whole thing where he just shrinks.
Yeah.
What? Lord Strongheart?
You were so focused on Van Zieks, you forgot that he existed, bro.
Yes. It is true that 10 years ago the defendant handled the prosecution of the professor
Of the
in court.
Prosifer?
The Prosifer. The prophecy is real. The prosophy.
Stop.
But he only took over the case after his brother, Lord Van Zieks, or Clint, well, that would be the Lord Clint Van Zieks, had been killed. Oh shit. I've been going after the wrong man. Oh no.
Yeah.
I can only assume that this is the most inappropriate joke in British judicial history.
No, that would be your face.
Well, Lord Van Zieks, 10 years ago, I was very new to my profession. I had a burning desire to avenge my brother's death, so I pleaded for control of the case. The investigation to that point, the supplication of the lords to allow my brother's corpse to be examined, all the evidence that was given, the autopsy reports, it all came from you. Oh shit. I've spent my life since then believing I was in your debt for the way you stood aside and let me handle the trial. But I see now
It all came back to
I was
this.
very much mistaken. It was a hugely influential force that caused the inspector and the coroner to break the law 10 years ago. And that same force was still felt a decade later on the other side of the world by Mr. Jigoku. Lord Strongheart, everything falls into place when we recognize that you are the Reaper of the Bailey. Oh shit.
Ooh.
The court awaits your response, my lord. This may very well go down in British judicial history, but I assure you, it is no joke. Consider this a formal accusal by the defense. It doesn't warrant a response. A formal accusal? Don't be absurd. The defense's claims are utter nonsense, a wild fantasy at best. You're not going to defend yourself? You claim there was some wrongdoing with Lord Clint Van Zeke's autopsy? That's utterly untrue.
Objection.
He's like, no.
But I heard it from Gregson's own lips. He admitted to it. And where's your evidence? What? Gregson's dead now. Unless you were thinking of summoning a ghost to the stand.
No, that's later.
You mean to say, all of a sudden, fucking so-and-so Faye walks in. I can solve this. What? You mean to say, I forget how the system works in your little backwater country.
Wow.
But in the courts of the British Empire, without evidence, there is no case.
Ooh.
I have no intention of entertaining some wild fantasy that can't possibly be sustained by anyone. Substantiated by anyone or anything. Ugh.
Pooh boy.
Order in court. Following Inspector Gregson's murder and in the light of Dr. Wilson's death as well, there's really no one left who could testify about the events of 10 years ago. Is there? So that was the real purpose of the assassin exchange.
Phew.
This court has no business raking over the coals of a case that was concluded a decade ago. The accusal brought by the prosecution and the defense is categorically denied. I take it there are no objections? Kazuma has more or less waited his whole life for this moment. Is there really nothing else we can do now? Is there no other avenue we can go down in pursuit of the truth about what happened all those years ago? If only there was someone who could testify about Clint Van Zeke's autopsy. Oh, I believe there is someone.
Yep.
But we'll go on about that next time.
There's somebody.
Oh, Jesus. If we thought it was getting real before, it's getting real today.
It's real now.
Oh,
God
boy.
dang.
It's getting saucy
I'm
in here.
forgetting how to breathe over here.
I know, right?